Hey everyone. So I usually don't make videos like this. I try to stay away from this kind of stuff because I just want to focus usually on more lighthearted stuff. One of the reasons I kind of went and decided to upload my true crime videos to another channel. But this one I just kind of wanted to talk about since of the impact it's leading. It's not every day that it really happens to this kind of level, and you see the way that it's happening from all kinds of the spectrum. So Charlie Kirk, the conservative speaker, was assassinated the other day by a shooter. He was just giving a little speech. He was answering someone's question on mass shootings, and someone went and shot him. It was at Utah at a university, and he was giving the question to I think a challenger. I might have that incorrect, but someone was just asking him that question, and during the middle of it, someone shot him in the neck. He fell over, blood was gushing from him, and people were screaming or running everywhere. The people who worked for him came and grabbed him, some cops. He was flown to the hospital where they tried to work on him, but it was too late. It was no use. The bullet, I think, was just too far in. I think it might hit some arteries, and he was gone. And when you see this kind of stuff, it just makes you wonder why. Why would you just have this much hatred in you to go and just kill someone for speaking out? Charlie was a self-made man. He was almost pretty much the definition of that. He worked up, at the age of 18, he went and made Turning Point USA, and he went on from there. It got bigger and bigger and bigger until he became popular, influenced so many people, and everything like that. It's amazing when you think of it, because what was I doing when I was 18? I was playing video games and watching TV. That was me. Of course, I wanted a job, but it was just always really hard to get one. But that was me. Even if I did have a job at the time, it would be flipping burgers or bagging groceries or something like that. But Kirk, he went and made a group, and it expanded into its big own thing. You could have never gotten me off my lazy butt to go and do something like that. Not to mention I would be too cowardly as well. But he did that, and he also married the woman he loved, became a husband, a father, and that's gone now. A wife lost her husband. Some kids lost their father, who they will never get to know. And he's gone. He's never going to go and do speeches again. He's never going to get to see his kids grow up. He's never going to go and grow old with his wife. All because of some cowardly, evil, gutless, horrible, I would call them a human being, but they aren't a human being. They don't deserve to be called that. Monster, inhuman, just any word you can think of that isn't human, that's what this person is. And the fallout from this has been what I would probably expect. It's just from so many years of hate. in the past decade or so, it's been getting worse. I think I've kind of noticed it maybe back around the early 2010s or so, but around the mid-2010s, that's when it started getting worse. That everyone just seems to have this big hatred in them, where they hate everyone. Where you just can't go and speak your mind without being called out. Where if you say one thing, you're called maybe a fascist or a Nazi or Hitler. Or if you say another thing, you're called woke or social justice warrior. Or just anything else, like a threat to democracy on whatever you say. And now we live in an age where assassinations they seem to become more commonplace. Where we had this a couple months ago, we had that former congresswoman. There was Trump 2 times. There was that congressman at that baseball game several years ago. There was Nancy Pelosi's husband. There was Justice Kavanaugh. All these people who were targeted and just for going and saying stuff that someone didn't like. With this, I've been seeing some people going saying, oh, guns and everything like that. Personally, I don't agree. It's just, you could kill anyone this way. This guy could have stabbed Charlie. He could have gone and used a bomb. He could have ran over him with a car. He could have poisoned him. There's so many ways you can go and kill people. And this guy just happened to use a gun. And I don't think we should go and bring the gun debate into this. It was just an evil individual who was going to get that weapon no matter what, since he was that intent on killing Charlie. And even if he couldn't kill a gun, he would have gone and done it a different way. He was going to kill Charlie regardless. And when I just see all this stuff, I just can't go and shake my head at what is happening. There was also a moment in Congress the other day where they were giving a moment of silence for Charlie, and just some of the people just didn't want to do it. Which, that kind of made me upset. You don't have to like the guy. You don't have to believe in God. You don't have to believe in prayer. But for God's sake, just stand there for a moment and just say nothing for someone who was just killed for speaking their mind. If you can't do that, you are a part of the problem. You are the reason this happened. For 60 seconds, they just can't go and stay silent. And it just makes me wonder how we got here. The worst of it is that there are people celebrating this. There are actually people going around and celebrating this. When I kind of think of these things, of the people I want to die, like serial killers or serial rapists or child molesters, I still know there are people out there who would rather that person live. And they've done the worst of the worst. Something that is just so unforgivable that a lot of people want to see this person get the ultimate punishment. But then other people just, to them, the ultimate punishment would just be to be in jail for the rest of their life. And as I said, this was for the worst of the worst. This guy was just going and saying something that this person didn't agree with. And I've often seen stuff like this online, even before this, with people celebrating someone who died, or making fan art of someone they don't like getting killed, and it's often with maybe fictional characters, thinking that this fictional character would agree with them, or just having their own original character go and kill this person. And those people really scare me. They kind of make me think they're going to be future school shooters, or just future serial killers, or something like that. They really do kind of scare me. And with this, I don't think this is going to be the end. I think there are going to be more targets from whatever side it might be, or just in the middle. I think this is going to lead to more. May that be speakers like Charlie, celebrities, politicians, or just normal people like you and me. I do think this is going to lead to more. I wish it wouldn't. I wish this would be the big wake up for people that, like, just made them go like, maybe we've gone too far, maybe we gotta tone it down, but I don't think so. I've seen a lot of people who have been getting fired from bad comments they've been saying on this kind of stuff, celebrating this. There was this one person from DC who got fired. I forgot what their job was though, but someone from not DC, someone from DC Comics. Excuse me for that. DC Comics. They got I think fired, or maybe it was just that their series got canceled for what they said. A sports writer got fired. Someone who worked with the Carolina Panthers got fired. A suicide prevention person. Someone who's supposed to save your life and tell you that there's more to go, got fired for tweeting bad things that they were happy he died. And it makes me think, who can I really trust if someone like that does it? Could I trust my doctors if I were going in for some kind of surgery and they found out something I didn't like, that I said that they don't like? Would they go and do something on purpose? And there's a lot more from there, and it's just, what the hell? This isn't the first time. It's happened before. When you think of someone like Martin Luther King, who was also killed for speaking his mind, for speaking the truth, for saying something that someone didn't like. They didn't like what he said. They couldn't handle it. So they killed him. And if there was any good to come out of that, it did make a lot of people come and see that he didn't deserve that. Even if they didn't agree with everything he said, he didn't deserve that. And slowly, a lot more people came to believe that you just can't go and treat people this way. There was nothing wrong with white people and black people just being together. He was right. And he had to pay his life for it. And so did Charlie. When I think to the America I grew up with, I just can't think of how much better at least it seemed, how much closer we were, how much more friendly we were, more patriotic. Now, that just might be the nostalgia getting in, and that I didn't pay attention to the news, but that's what I at least remember. When 9/11 happened, it brought a lot more people together. I didn't really understand 9/11 when it happened. I was definitely around. I was 10 years old, but I didn't really understand what was going on. I remember my mom being shocked looking at the TV. I remember getting to school and all the shocked teachers and them announcing the towers falling on the intercom, but I was pretty much really too young to understand all that. And now today, there are a lot of people who weren't even alive when 9/11 happened, which is kind of crazy to me. But that's how it always happens. I wasn't around for the Challenger or a lot of other historical events like that. In a way, this is our MLK or JFK or attempted Reagan assassination. This is our generation's version of it. I also can't help but blame social media. I think that's really has a lot of the blame for it, actually, since social media has really exploded in about the last 15 years, 10 years, and that's, I think, around the time a lot of all this started. When places like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that became much more popular, people can go and voice their opinions whenever they want, and they just really took advantage of it. Whenever a tragedy often happens, such as a shooting, the first thing people often do is ask, which political side is he on? What race is he? What's his religion? Those are the questions we ask. We don't ask anything like, oh, are all those people okay? Or what drove him to this? Or anything like that. Just what his politics are and other ethical things. And that really sickens me that we got to this point where just people, they get online and they're hoping for it to be someone from the other side so they can use it to their advantage. To go and spread their agenda around and say, oh, this person's evil, but I'm good. And I often wonder how ways we can maybe fix this. I often maybe think going to church, but I know a lot of people aren't religious, and obviously that's your opinion, but I can't help, maybe it will just help. A lot of people used to go to church every Sunday. Was the typical thing, and it just seemed maybe about 30 years ago, people were a lot happier because they went to church. They looked up to something that was a lot bigger than them. They helped other people in the community. They sang songs. Just sing together. You know, something like Amazing Grace or something like that. In fact, Amazing Grace actually, it was written by a man who was a slave trader, and he had this kind of awakening during a really bad storm he almost died in. And some years later, he abandoned the slave trade, became an abolitionist, and then wrote that song. And it's kind of good when you go and see something like that. He was able to go and turn his life around because of religion, and maybe we can too. Obviously, you don't have to if you don't want to, that's your choice, but it's just one of the things I think of. Maybe we also have to just know our neighbors again. No one seems to know their neighbors anymore. I don't. I've lived in this place for several years, and I don't even know names of the people behind me. Their first names, their last names, anything. Or most people in this neighborhood. I do know the person next door over there a little bit, but that's really about it. I do, whenever I'm going on my runs, I do, wave to people, say, hey, how you doing? And they do it back. Most of the time. Sometimes people don't. They just kind of go on walking or look at their phone or something like that, but a lot of people do. But that's most of the communication I have in this neighborhood. It used to be that you would often go and talk to your neighbors if If there was some new person in the neighborhood, you gave them a plate of cookies. But I don't think people really even do that anymore. So, there are probably a lot of ways we could try to go and fix this, but it just might go and lead to more debates and more hate. I just really miss the country that I remember. And I know America isn't perfect. It was never perfect. There were always problems. There were always murders. There were always kidnappings. There were always race problems, religion problems, problems on gay people. But we've gotten better. We've gotten so much better. And I still think this is one of the best countries in the world. Because we've proven that in just 250 years, you can accomplish so much. This country has accomplished so many things that beforehand, so many other countries could only dream of. And we could do more if we just stopped doing all this. Even though Charlie is gone, he isn't really gone. He may not be here physically anymore, but his voice is. Everything he said is. Everything he said in here, it's out there. Millions of people heard it, and millions of people are going to continue saying it. And at least I hope when I say this, there are more of us who want to give these good messages, even if we disagree, than there are of you who only want to spread nothing but hate. At least I want to believe that. I'm not sure if I can, but I want to. Just because you killed him, that doesn't mean you silenced him. You can't silence everyone. You might have taken away his life, but he's always going to be here. And there's nothing you could do to go and take that away. Hopefully, this person will get caught, and they will face the ultimate punishment for it. Wherever that may be. I'm not going to go and preach on that kind of stuff, but whatever happens, happens. And this person will have to live with that. And the people who, whatever they think of this, if this saddens them or if this angers them or makes them happy, it's just going to probably leave them more. But I really want to go and see the country I love come back. And I really hope that you do too. Even if you disagree with me on things. I have a lot of friends who I don't agree with on a lot of things, especially in politics. But they just mean so much to me that I wouldn't go and say anything that would upset them, because if I did and all of them were gone, I would feel so much more alone, so much more depressed. And I sometimes do, since I don't really think there are too many people in my life. I'm single, don't have that many friends. I do have plenty, but not a big group or anything. So I don't want to lose the people I have right now. They mean a lot to me. And I just think bickering over something like this isn't worth it. So that's really all I had to say on this. Hopefully better days are to come. I'm not holding my breath on that, but hopefully. My heart goes out to Charlie, his family, and just anyone who ever listened to him. Be that if you agreed with him or not. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a better day, and we have better days ahead of us. Thank you.